The Epstein Files are finally here. Not as a cute little client list PDF, but as millions of documents vomited onto a government website, with file names like 003.pdf. Ridiculously hard to search through, let me tell you. Thanks to something called the Epstein Files Transparency Act, the Department of Justice had to dump its Epstein-related files into a public online archive called the Epstein Library. We're talking about court records, FBI interview documents, emails, flight logs, photos, videos, the whole horror show. Today we're going to break down what exactly got released, who shows up in these documents, where we do have numbers on how many names and how many mentions, and what the worst parts of the record look like, without getting this channel instantly heated. Now I want to mention this. Being named in a document does not automatically mean someone committed a crime, and every serious outlet repeats that. So we're going to be precise, and we're going to show receipts on screen. First, let's talk about the law. In 2025, Congress passed the Epstein Files Transparency Act. It tells the Attorney General, put all unclassified Epstein-related files online in a searchable, downloadable format within 30 days, and give Congress an unredacted list of all government officials and politically exposed persons named in those files. To comply, DOJ created the Epstein Library, an official public archive at justice.gov. Inside are court filings, FBI and DOJ records, FOIA releases, photos, videos, flight logs, and more. By January 30th, 2026, ABC reports DOJ had released around 3 million pages of Epstein files online. On top of an earlier batch of roughly 12,000 documents, 125,000 pages that were already there. CBS also talks about 3 million documents and photos and tens of thousands of pages. On top of that, we've got earlier separate unsealing of civil case documents from Virginia Giuffre's 2015 lawsuit against Ghislaine Maxwell. Those court dumps in January 2024 added thousands of pages of depositions and exhibits, naming roughly 150 to 200 people connected to Epstein's world. Let's do the quick tour because you don't have to trust influencers. You can click this stuff yourself. Step 1. Go to the official DOJ Epstein Library at justice.gov/Epstein. You'll see links for Search Full Epstein Library and for DOJ disclosures, House disclosures, and so on. When you hit Search Full Epstein Library, you get a big search bar, filters by category and date, but also a warning. Some documents may not be fully text searchable or may give unreliable results because the OCR isn't perfect. This is why journalists and nerds have built third-party tools like EpsteinFTA.com, which rehost the DOJ files and let you full search and filter by things like flight logs or contact book. They pull everything from the DOJ site, but they're not official or curated by the government. So when you see a viral list or someone shouting, "I searched the library and found X," just remember, the files are real, but the interpretation is where people can go off the rails. Now the big question. Who's exactly named in these files? In the January 2024 civil case, unsealing from Giuffre versus Maxwell, sorry if I mispronounced that, CBS and CNN say the documents run to thousands of pages. CBS notes over 900 pages in the first drops alone, listing 184 anonymized J. Does and more than 100 people connected to Epstein. Fact checkers put the total range at about 150 to 200 named people across all the batches. Major outlets highlight these high-profile names in those civil case records. Bill Clinton. He appears frequently. His name's on flight manifests, and one witness quotes Epstein calling him a good friend. Clinton denies any knowledge of Epstein's crimes. A report commissioned by Maxwell's team and written by former FBI Director Louis Freeh concluded Clinton did not travel to Little St. James between 2001 and 2003. Donald Trump. Donald Trump appears as a social contact in depositions and documents. CNN reports that in 2016 deposition, Virginia Giuffre said she never saw Trump participate in sexual abuse and only heard that he'd been at Epstein's house without seeing it herself. Prince Andrew repeatedly named in Giuffre's accusations of sexual abuse when she was a minor. He denies wrongdoing, but settled a civil case. Alan Dershowitz, listed in flight logs and testimony, accused by Giuffre, which he strongly denies. Other names frequently noted: Kevin Spacey, David Copperfield, Michael Jackson, former Senator George Mitchell, former Israel PM Ehud Barak, former New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson, and former VP Al Gore. Again, named in court materials, not necessarily charged with crimes. Every mainstream report underlines appearing in these documents does not mean the person is accused or guilty. In the DOJ Epstein Library released under EFTA, the picture gets even messier. ABC reports Trump's name appears thousands of times in the released files, but emphasizes that most of those are in news articles and clippings included as evidence, not in secret investigation memos. CBS notes that files also include references to Bill Clinton and Elon Musk, among many others. But again, many of these are photos, media reports, or tangential mentions included in case files. DOJ itself has said some of the newly released documents contain false and sensational allegations about Trump that were submitted as tips and lack supporting evidence. Here's the honest bottom line. In the civil case, unsealing about 150 to 200 people are named in some way, plus 184 anonymous does. In the DOJ library, many high-profile names pop up, sometimes thousands of times. But a huge share of that is press clippings and background material, and there is no official, comprehensive, per-person mention count published by DOJ. This is where people really want a scoreboard. Who's mentioned the most? And this is also where we have to be brutally honest. In the January 2024 civil case records, we actually do have some structure. 184 John Jane Does are numbered in the case file from Doe number 3 to Doe number 187, with some repeats. CBS and others say the documents include the names of more than 100 people connected to Epstein, and fact checkers summarize roughly 150 to 200 named individuals across batches. But nobody has a public official Excel sheet stating Bill Clinton appears X times, Prince Andrew appears Y times, etc., etc. Different outlets emphasize Clinton's name comes up frequently, or nearly 200 names, depending on which chunk they're counting. For the DOJ library, the only really firm count in the public records is ABC's statement that Trump's name appears thousands of times in the documents released so far, with most of those being mentions in articles rather than new investigative records. Beyond that, any top 10 mention count you see is going to come from a third-party search tool or someone's scraped data set, not from DOJ itself, and can easily be skewed by double counting, same article filed multiple times, OCR errors, and different ways of handling news clipping sets. We have solid ranges for how many people are named in specific court releases, and one big media verified count that Trump's name showed up thousands of times in the DOJ dump. But there is no official public leaderboard of who's mentioned the most across the millions of pages. Anyone who shows you that is working off their own scraped database, not an official DOJ tally. So what do the worst documents actually describe? Let's keep it non-graphic, but real. CNN's review of the unsealed civil documents found more than 4,500 pages of new material, unsettling allegations and depositions, police reports from Palm Beach that detail interviews with dozens of girls, showing a consistent pattern of recruitment and abuse. Here's some key patterns. Girls were often brought in as teenagers for massages at Epstein's homes, especially in Palm Beach. Palm Beach detective Joseph Riccari testified that Epstein and Maxwell allegedly used a system where girls were recruited by other girls, paid for massages, and then the encounters turned sexual. Victims described being between 15 and 17 when they were paid for what they thought were non-sexual massages, then escalated into abuse. Then there's the infamous birthday gift line. In an unsealed deposition of Associate Nadia Marcinkova, a lawyer asked if she was with Epstein on his birthday, when one of his friends sent him 3 12-year-olds for the purpose of Jeffrey Epstein sexually abusing them. She pleads the fifth and gives no answer. But that question itself, quoted by CNN, is one of the most disturbing cases in the public record. On the DOJ side, ABC reports that January 30th, 2026 release includes numerous FBI 302s, official interview summaries, from alleged victims spanning 2013 to 2021, with detailed descriptions of their time with Epstein and Maxwell. NBC and CBS both emphasize that the DOJ files show the large scale of the abuse. And NBC adds that DOJ acknowledges over 1,000 victims overall. Now let's go over what's missing or unclear, because that is how you stay accurate. There is no official client list. DOJ itself said in a memo and via Axios coverage that there is no single client list document hidden somewhere. Instead, there are scattered logs, contact books, emails, etc. Redactions and missing categories. EFTA lets DOJ redact to protect victim privacy, ongoing investigations, and some classified, privileged info. Kind of wondering what would happen. Are they protecting people just because of who they are in the government? Advocacy groups like Democracy Defenders Fund say DOJ is over-redacting and may be excluding whole categories of internal emails or leadership documents. DOJ claims it's following the law. That's an active dispute, not something we can call either way yet. Congress is still digging. NBC reports that Congress members are being given access to unredacted versions starting February 2026, so they can assess how DOJ handled the case and the release. Now let's be honest. Online lists are often wrong. Fact checkers found that many viral graphics mix names accurately in the civil documents, names that only show up in unrelated rumors, where no documentary link could be found at all. In one analysis, 129 of 166 names on a viral list had no supporting link in the checked records. The Epstein Files are real. They're huge, and they document a horrifying abuse network, but they're not a neat client list. And having your name in there can mean anything from you were on a flight once to you were accused in sworn testimony. The only honest way to talk about this is to show the documents, explain the context, and admit that we still don't know. Thanks for watching, everybody. Epstein Files is pretty crazy. I'm sure we're all following them, seeing what's going to happen next. I'm very interested to see who's in these files and see who actually did wrong. And I want to see if our government is actually going to hold them accountable. And if they do, what's going to happen? Like, depending on who it is, it could crash markets. It could do all sorts of things. So I guess we will see what happens. And to all the victims out there, I salute you. Let's get these mother effers and burn them down.